Hey, hello friends. I wanted to give an update on my last video I did where I upped my fat content. And the reason I wanted to is because it gave me really good results. Since about August, I went down from I peaked at 200, 201, and now I'm at 190. And the body fat went down from 19.6 to 18.4. So big changes. And my workout intensity and frequency have not changed. The only thing I did was a dietary change. So I want to tell you what I did. Maybe it can help you, but it does make sense as a nutritional strategy. And, you know, it's one of those things where you kind of hear nutritionists say it, but until you do it and manifest it, you can actually see how it works. So as I've said from my past video at the beginning of the year, I stopped chasing a deficit. I left for my macro factor. I have it as maintain. I'm at the point, since I sprint twice a week, work out every day, ruck, I just try to move every day. Even if it's an off workout day, I go out, find something to do in the gym. So I'm always moving, so I couldn't eat less. And at some point in time, you're going to get to that point where if you eat less, your metabolism goes down, your workouts suffer, you're also hungry. So the real answer is you just need to move more. In fact, a good technique for those of you now getting on this journey, you're going to see a lot of diets where you got to eat, starve yourself, or eat less and try to get in a deficit and track it. I would say just, if you have a software, just be honest with the metrics about your activity level and your weight and your body fat, and just put it to maintain, but make better dietary choices and try to move more. You're gonna, and I'll talk about this, but you're gonna eat less, not by eating less calories, but increasing the time between your meals. So here's what I did. I kept my calories at 2,400, and I opted for a lower fat, higher carb for various reasons, but I like to try different things. Higher carb, especially since I was sprinting. Now, everybody's body and metabolism is different. Some people need a lot more carb, can handle more, some people can't, and you gotta see where that is from your genetics, from your evolutionary history, or your metabolism in life now. So my carbohydrates were up at the beginning of the year. My fat was down, and I was eating very lean meats, took out eggs, so I was definitely low fat. The downside of that is you're not as satiated, but I said, look, I'll just give myself trace carbs. There was a little carb creep because I started leaning on not just fruits, but I was using like dextrose and having rice and bread, higher glycemic carbs, especially before my workouts and after, and I would carry dextrose during my workouts. So that's a hot topic, but I gotta tell you, I've moved away from any kind of in-workout nutrition, and I'll tell you why. So around August, I found my weight stabilized, but it slowly started to climb, and I found my face was getting a bit rounder. So that tells me my carb intake is either high or I'm getting too much higher glycemic carbs. And my labs, actually, when I did it, my HbA1c, which is normal, actually started to trend up. And I said, that's bad because it's been good all this time. And I don't have issues with my fasting blood glucose, but HbA1c is like a 3 to 6 month snapshot of your glucose level and your glycemic level. So even though your body clears it at night, it's telling you that you're kind of running high blood sugars. The only way you can get that is if you're eating it, So around August, I said, time to switch something up. And I miss my eggs and my steak. So I said, all right, no more lean chicken breast, shrimp, blah, blah, blah. Let's go back. Let's start buying eggs. Let's get meat, red meat, beef, put beef back. Beef is back, baby. And let's get the fat up and see what happens, So, and I also made a commitment to, I took the bread, any bread that I had out. I mean, every now and then I have wheat bread. Every now and then I'll get a slice of wheat toast, but the white bread I took out. And and any kind of wheat product. So my carbohydrates source became fruits and rice, white rice, and I use honey as a sweetener exclusively. So I went back to my high protein breakfast. So I would have about 4 ounces of steak in the morning and a fruit. And that actually I found started to hold me for like 5 or 6 hours. And my next meal, lunch, would be meat, fat, vegetable, rice. And with the increase in fat from the meats, I found myself eating less between meals. And in between meals, I decided if I was hungry, I would just get a piece of fruit. So I keep bananas, pears, and nectarines. So I went with natural snacks. And I eliminated the dextrose for workout. I used to have dextrose before I work out, put it in my thing before or after, and that is a quick insulin hit. So I stopped that. But just by increasing the fat in my one meal allowed me to increase the fasted time between my meals. So I was averaging 5 to 6 hours between meals. I wasn't hungry in between. And if I was, I'd grab a banana. So I liked that because I didn't have to worry about food. But I found that the weight started to go down rather rapidly. And that also follows how your body burns energy. So overnight, you burn most of your calories. And then the rest of it is your fasted time between meals. So if you're constantly snacking, even if you're working out and you have meals between meals, you're going to stimulate insulin. And, when you stimulate insulin, you tell your body, it's like, hey, food coming in, let's store. So if it's in any kind of fasted state where it's burning fat or using your blood sugar to burn, to keep yourself going in between meals, it's going to knock it out of that, depending on how much you eat. So in my previous diet, I was having meals between my breakfast, lunch, and dinner because I wasn't satiated enough. So basically, I kept my calorie load the same. I just decided to switch to fattier meats and up the fat and see what would happen. And initially, I started realizing I can't eat the size meals. They had to drop down. And what happened was I started eating less meals in the day. I went down to just 3. My fasting times increased between the meals. And also what started to happen, since I was actually satiated enough, the actual calorie count started to come down. And that goes with the concept of eating nutritionally dense meals versus calorie dense meals. So instead of glycemic carbs, which I was used to fuel my sprints, I switched to fruits, which have a higher fiber content, but compared to snacking on something that you shouldn't be on, it's a much lower calorie and sugar count. And having extra fiber and the protein and the fats means your body also burns calories in digesting it. So this is what I did, and it actually really helped the weight go off in the last half of this year. In fact, I had a much bigger drop than I've ever had doing anything. I think the last time I had a big drop like this was when I started this journey and I went carnivore and I removed the carbs. Now that taught me that if you have high protein and a good amount of fat, it can hold you for a while. So I learned that from carnivore. And then I did intermittent fasting after, and it just showed me that if you eat well, your body can go a while without needing food. The thing is, once you throw in your workouts, you're going to have to know how to feed it. So I don't do intermittent fasting anymore, but with my eating now, my overnight sleep, and my 6 hours between meals, I count those as my fasted times. And I really try to have my meals packaged so that I don't have to eat in between meals. So I'm going to walk you through what I eat, and it's just a suggestion, but it's the reason I wanted to put it out there is it's just I literally changed one thing. I didn't change my workout. I didn't change the amount of calories I ate. I just changed the dietary fat. And I wanted to see what that would do to the rest of my diet. And what it did was it satiated me so much. It forced me to reduce the size of my meals because fat's very nutritionally dense. So I couldn't have a lot more rice and a lot of meat and a whole avocado because I'd fall asleep, right? So it's so dense, I needed less. I have bowls actually. And I really tried to not eat for 5 or 6 hours. And if I really was craving something, it usually is carbohydrate, then that tells me, well, your activity level is such that your body uses the carbs, just give it a little bit, and it would be fruit. Fruit's about 100 calories, most 30 grams are carbs, with a banana, apple, nectarine, 4 of that is fiber. And not all of that is sugar. Some of it is resistant starches. So that doesn't jump your insulin level very much. So really that's what I did. I focused on 3 meals, 6 hours apart, and only snack on fruits. And I didn't restrict myself from any kind of food. And here is how I packaged it. My meal should have minimum 30 grams of protein. 30 to 45, 50 on a good time. In the mornings, you're probably not as hungry, but after your workout, you can probably handle a little more protein. Everybody's different. Big boys need more protein. Women will handle less. There are mathematical calculations you could do to determine how much protein you need in a day. Just split it up into 3, okay? So with 30, 35, 40 grams of protein, I would ensure I get 15 to 20 grams of fat. Now, meat fat, olive oil, ghee, eggs, that's it. I don't eat junk or processed fat. I'd make sure my meal had 4 grams of fiber and 30 grams of carbohydrate. Now, 3 ounces of rice is about 30 grams of carbohydrate. 2 slices of bread, 1 burger bun, 1 good big serving of fruit. Not grapes or little plums, but a nectarine, a pear. A fruit that will hold you is about 4 grams of fiber. Temperate fruits, little better profile. You start getting the tropical fruits. I'm a tropical boy. They're very high in sugar, like mangoes and stuff. So be careful. Bananas are a safe go-to. Great digestive health, And I like these versus watermelon or pineapple. I don't have to cut it up. I could just grab these and go. So I eat that package 3 times a day. Now during lunch, I might need about 4 ounces of carbohydrate if I had a long workout. And I might need some more. I might have a craving after, so I may have a fruit as a between lunch and dinner snack because I've had a long workout, If you package those meals together and you give yourself, you see, hunger is interesting. Your body tells you you're hungry. And when you're low on carbs, it does a good job of ringing the alarm bells and make you crave carbs. But when you don't eat enough protein, fats, and micronutrients, you actually get hungry. And it fools you into thinking you need carbs and calorie-rich foods like pizza or, something sweet. But it's just you haven't hit your protein goal and your fat and your micronutrient goals. So if you have enough fat and protein in these 3 meals, the only thing that's going to trigger an alarm bell to snack is your need for carbohydrate. And it's because you're active and you have a longer fasting time. So that's your body saying, give us a little top up. We don't want a full tank of gas. Just give me a quarter tank. So just reach for the fruit, right? Fruits are easy. You can get them everywhere, any grocery store. They're relatively cheap. So just lean on fruits. So here's what I eat, and I'm just using this as an example, but you fill in whatever protein and carbs you think you need. My breakfast is about 8 or 9. It's 8:30 now. I got to go do it. I like to have a steak for breakfast. Now, I don't have these big steaks. When I tell people, they think I'm having a big steak. At the grocery, they have very thin-cut steaks. I get thin-cut steaks that cook fast. They're about 4 ounces of meat, right? I cook it to how I like. I season it well. I sear it. and I'll have about 4, maybe 5 ounces of steak. It's usually like a New York strip, maybe a T-bone, right? And then I'll have a banana. And that actually holds me. In the mornings, I do crave meat or protein because the overnight fast and night cruise repaired your body and you wake up hungry, you know? But I don't want to give myself a bunch of sugar or carbs to get my insulin up. I need to keep going. So I've found that if I have a high protein breakfast with a good amount of fat, so a thin cut New York strip for maybe 5 ounces is about 30 something grams of protein and does give me 15 to 20 grams of fat. And if I have a banana, it gives me fiber, gives me that little sweet I need to keep going. And that's fine. Now I've had espresso. I usually wake up at 5 a.m. and I start working, so I have espresso. I might put a little teaspoon of honey in it, but I just don't eat from 5 all the way to 8 or 9, right? 8 or 9 is my first feeding. So at that point in time, I usually go to do my workout at 11 or 12. Now, if I really need a carbohydrate, I'll probably have a banana or a piece of fruit before I go work out, and then I'll go work out. I probably won't get back home till around 12 or 1, and I don't eat till 2. At 2 o'clock, I'll eat about I'll make a bowl with 3 or 4 ounces of rice, 3 to 4 ounces of beef, maybe beef stew, ground beef, or 2 chicken drumsticks. Or I like to mix it up. Sometimes I'll do like 3 ounces of beef, 3 ounces of shrimp, or a chicken drumstick and 3 ounces of shrimp. I find for me, I like to mix up my protein so I don't get too tired of it, you know? So that's over 30 to 40 grams of protein. If I throw in like beef and chicken, beef and shrimp, that pushes it to like 50 grams of protein. That hits my 20 gram of fat goal, and I have my 3 to 4 ounces of rice, and that's a great recovery meal. Every now and then I'll throw in half an avocado. I got to be careful. If I'm going to go heavy on the protein, there's enough fat in there. I don't need the avocado. But I like the avocado for fiber. So generally speaking, it's 3 ounces of rice, 4 ounces of meat, half an avocado, and I got my fiber in. So that's at 2. My next meal is at 6 or 7. And if I'm hungry in between, I have bananas and pears in the house. I grab those. I eat it. I do have nuts. I'll grab a little pinch of nuts if I really want something, but no more than 5 or 10 grams. My goal is feed yourself so you need very little or no snack between your next feeding. I will tell you though, that's easier to do in the morning, but by the evening when you've burned calories all day, especially if you've worked out like me in the middle of the day, after your workout, you're gonna need probably a little more snack carbohydrate. So instead of the dextrose, which I used to do, or bread, I would just grab a piece of fruit, and the fruit has the fiber, complex sugar, water, micronutrients. A fruit will shut down any need you have for food, a good sized banana. By the time I get to dinner, if I've fed myself the first 2 meals and snacks, I actually don't feel for a big dinner. I do want to get enough protein, but a lot of times I may not have rice as my carbohydrate. It may just be protein. It might be 3 eggs, a couple of drumsticks, a banana, and that's it. I actually don't have a huge need for food, but I know I need to give myself some protein before I go to bed. And the thing about carbohydrates is if you don't give your body enough carbohydrates before bed, it'll stop you from going to sleep. You'll be thinking about carbs. So it's good to get a little carb before you go to sleep. And that's it. That's all I've done. But my workout, as I said, has not changed. And I do have a pretty heavy workout schedule. But what I did mandate is every night after I eat, I shower. Before I go to bed, I jump on the treadmill and I do 15 minutes, half a mile walk, just to bring my blood sugar down before bed, to help me have that morning low blood sugar, but also to get my food onto digestion, because I've had a history of reflux. And that's the other reason I like smaller, more dense meals at night. And I like to get it digested because, you know, I don't want my reflux to come back and affect my sleep. If your sleep is affected and you don't get into deep wave sleep, all these body processes where your body starts producing hormones to repair your muscles, all your tissue, and starts using all your blood sugar available blood sugar, fats, and protein, that doesn't happen, right? So when you sleep like crap, all the food that's in the pipeline in your blood just sits there. It doesn't get used as efficiently. So my thing is, I need the night crew to go to work to repair me. I need them to use all this fuel that I gave them because I don't want to get diabetes. So that's what I do. And it works. I have my calories set at 2,400. I'll be honest with you, since August, since I started eating more meat and meat fat, the size of my meals have come down. I eat less meals in the day now, and the actual calorie count has come down. So instead of 2,400 and something calories, I might get 22, 21, 23. But these are more fat and more fiber because now I'm leaning on fruits for my carbs. So the fiber and the fats have gone up, thus keeping me satiated. The downside, my protein count has slid. Whereas I was trying to chase that 180 grams of protein, it's gone down to between 130 and 150. In fact, it hovers at 130, 140. Now that might be an alarm to a lot of people, and it was to me, but it also made me challenge the ideology because my goal is if I'm not hungry, I shouldn't eat. Every time I eat, I'm given an insulin bump. I need my body to stay in the work mode. So I haven't really suffered from the protein drop. I have no injuries. My sprint times have come down a bit. And being lighter, it's a lot easier on my joints. So for me, having less body weight and a lower body fat was more beneficial to the protein. Now, yes, when I get to a nice weight, I can always up the meat intake, but you got to realize your protein needs goes according to your weight. As your weight goes down, you're not going to need that 200 grams of protein from me as a man. I would love to get to 170 or 160. I'm at 190 now. I think 180 is probably a good reality. But the other thing is a lot of those calculations are for lean body weight. I'm not lean by any stretch. I carry a little body fat. So if I adjust it for what my lean body weight is, 130, 140 grams is okay for me. The other thing is, if you really try to push the meat, it does bring up your reflux symptoms. And digesting all that fat at night is tough. So at night, even though it looks like, yeah, if you're trying to hit your protein goal, you got to eat heavy at night, I really don't want to do that. So this is what I have done. And I gave you the macro package, but what I eat. But feel free to throw in other stuff, like smoked salmon is great breakfast in the morning, So play with your proteins and your fiber sources for your meals and cook different things. Variety, I find, helps it. Use all different kinds of meat and protein sources. And if you're vegetarian, well, milk and eggs are probably your thing, but you probably have to lean on protein powders. I did the protein powders. I can't really digest them. They just go through too fast, so I'm back with meat. But meat has a lot of other micronutrients that help feed me. So this was my trick. I'm at 190 now, and I want to just keep this and see how far it can get me. I know it's going to stabilize at a certain point. I'm hoping that's at 180 something. So yeah, that's my eating. That's my flexible diet approach. And the reason I like that is because unlike before where I was doing, if I tried low carb, intermittent fasting, or carnivore, no matter what holiday time it is, no matter where I'm at, I know I can find 30 grams of protein, 20 grams of fat, 30 grams of carbohydrate, and a fiber source. It doesn't matter what culture I'm eating from, I should be able to find that no matter what restaurant I go to. So now that I know the size, the components of the food I need to eat and how much, I know what I could choose on a menu that's going to hold me for the next 6 hours, And now that I'm accustomed to eating fruits, I'm less tempted by dessert now. So this has been my progress in 6 months, and I'm hoping it helps you. Bye.